Hello, Life Group leaders. Paul here. This is part number 3 of the Rhythms of Rooted. We started this a couple weeks ago, and these are simply the things that should inform life groups and what life groups should be all about. And it's simply what we learned and experienced in Rooted. A couple weeks ago, Caleb talked about the importance of God's Word. Of course, everything we do is based on God's Word, God's truth. That's foundational to what we do in community. Number 2, last week he talked about prayer and the importance of doing that on a consistent basis individually and corporately in our life group. Number 3, what I want to talk about this week is service. Now, I don't believe any one of these is more important than the other necessarily, but I do believe that serving consistently is the number one catalyst for spiritual growth. When you do that consistently, individually and in community, I think your growth goes up exponentially. So there's a few things I wanted to highlight from Rooted just to remind you. Number 1 is the number one example of a servant was, of course, Jesus himself. He came to serve, not to be served. So that is our example. And there's a couple statements in week 6 and 7 when we talked about mission and service that I wanted to highlight. One, it said about Jesus, he didn't perform serve projects. He lived a lifestyle of service. And number 2, he didn't go on missions. He lived a missional life. And that is simply the goal of our life groups, to live a missional life in community. So when you're doing that consistently, I think you're knocking it out of the park as a life group. Now, can you do that as a life group on a consistent basis? Well, number 1, you can serve on the weekend. We have weekend services. Let me see. Well, every single weekend, and we really need people at our 7 p.m. service. So maybe your life group could serve together during a service once a month. So that's a great way to jump in to serve consistently. And number 2, I encourage all of our life groups to find a cause, to work with an organization that we work with corporately here at Mariners HB, or to find another nonprofit, or even to just work with and serve a single parent family in your neighborhood. Go deep with a cause, whatever you're passionate about, and serve in that way. That's what we're all about. We should be smaller communities within a larger community that serves the world. So have a discussion about that, how you can serve on a consistent basis, and we will see you on the weekend.